want to jump straight to the cheese details and the review, I'm going to have the time notes just below. You can go ahead and go do that right now if you want to. Otherwise, let me tell you a little bit about some backstory about why we're doing this. So one of my first forays into the exploration of cheese came from when I visited this cheese shop. That was a hole in the wall in Sydney, Australia. And they had this dedicated cheese room and just all kinds of different cheese of different types. I mentioned the Czechoslovakian cave cheese and it was purple. I didn't realize that cheese came in purple. I think we're so used to like cheddar and mozzarella and kind of the usual parmesans kind of being the cheese that we know, but I realized that there's a whole world of cheese out there. And this channel is here to explore it, to enjoy it, to embrace cheese in all its different forms, and to just find out about all these different kinds of cheeses, while also looking at all of the original cheese that we know, and kind of seeing what the whole spectrum of cheese looks like. Getting ready for testing. So same parameters as we did last time for cheese. I think we'll talk about some of the details of what the cheese is, where it comes from, the creamery, what kind of milk. Sometimes this information isn't available. As for example, the package I got of this cheese is actually a small sample package. It's in one of those little sample baskets that they sometimes have in grocery stores that have a whole bunch of different cheese, but not a lot of detail. This is one of those cheeses. And so we'll talk about those details from what we can figure out. Then there's also the tasting aspect. So we'll talk about not just the flavors, but also the texture and the smell as well. And also maybe dive into some of the appearance, what the smell is like, so the aroma, and also the mouthfeel as well on eating it, and then draw some final conclusions and maybe some thoughts. Let's dive in. This is the Kaasaggio Robusta Gouda. So the Kaasaggio Robusta Gouda is one that I reviewed actually in my previous series. Decided to revisit again because I'd honestly forgotten about what it tasted like and what it was like. Glad to see that I'm very surprised as my revisiting it has kind of reminded me of how unique this cheese is. So some details. It is a hard type Gouda. So it's a Gouda cheese, but it's like, I guess it's been aged because it is very hard. The rind itself is actually not edible. Let me see if I can pull it out here. Oh yeah, that's wax. Yeah, okay. So the rind is wax, definitely inedible. I think it looks like there's one or two layers here of the wax. I think once you peel that off, then you get right down to like the main cheese itself. You can probably eat that, but the top layers of rind, or the rind itself, I would say, don't eat it. The cheese comes from the Netherlands, as far as the information as I could find on this specific cheese. As for age, I'm not really sure. It wasn't noted on the packaging at this time, but hopefully I'll be able to find that detail if I ever buy it again. The milk source is cow in this case. So the last cheese was goat. This one comes from cow, and that will probably affect the flavor, is my guess. Okay, so in terms of smell, this one actually only has a very slight smell. When I opened the package, there wasn't a lot of odor coming out, or not a scent from the cheese. And even now, if I try to smell it, it only has a bit of a slight smell. And I'll dive into this a little bit later, but the aroma is actually very bready, almost yeasty, and I think that's really interesting. Very different from any other cheese I smelled before. In terms of the texture, this turned out to be a semi-firm cheese. Semi-firm cheese. So whereas the granonata that we tried last time was very difficult to cut and to push down really hard on the knife, this one seemed to cut a bit more easier. I ended up using a knife with one hand and was able to push it down. That being said, it was still not easy to cut. This is not a soft cheese by any means, still on the firmer side, just more of a semi-firm. Now in terms of flavor, I thought this one was really interesting because when I tried it, and as I'm going to try it now, I found that there were a variety of different flavors and different flavors that arose and different textures. Makes this a very unique cheese. One doesn't really stand out per se. They kind of all meld together to create this unique cheese, unique cheese taste. There's a bit of saltiness, so it definitely has some salty. I'd say kind of low on the salt side. There's a bit of sharpness to it as well. I originally thought there was a bit of a sweetness to it, but after eating it some more, it was more of a caramel type flavor. And I would say in this case, the caramel is maybe medium to low in terms of intensity. Definitely has a buttery taste to it. I think I've had other people taste it and they said it was milky. I would say it's more on the buttery side for me. There's actually a little bit of toastiness as well. So in all, I would say you have a flavor that consists of a bit of caramelness, a little buttery, a little toasty, a little salty, and a little bit sharp as well. It's a very interesting flavor. As I mentioned, nothing's really kicking my butt right now, but it kind of all combines to create this very unique cheese taste when you eat it. That was good. It was a very unique cheese. I just keep wanting to eat it. Actually, I'll go back to the flavor wheel because there's a little bit of something extra, which is that there's sometimes little crunchy bits in here, almost like saltine bits. I haven't really been able to determine what it really is, but sometimes you'll find that there's this occasional crunch, just little dots of crunchiness in the cheese, which makes it very, very interesting for sure. It's something you don't expect until you bite into it. In terms of appearance, it is very smooth appearance, kind of a very light, very, very light, or maybe I'd say more like an off-white caramel type color. And indented with like white crystals, and occasionally there's little air bubbles that arise. In terms of aroma, it has a bready type smell to it, I guess, or aroma to it. Very yeasty or not very yeasty. I would say more along the bready side, actually, now that I think about it. And that smell doesn't come off very strong, so I can't smell it right now, but when you do put it up to your nose, it is there. But again, that goes back to it being slight smell. In terms of mouthfeel, it is a hard cheese for sure. It is dry because it is hard. But there's actually a bit of a smoothness to it. So it's not chalky per se. Yeah, it's got a great mouthfeel to it. A little creamy, I guess, with regards to when you're biting it. And you're also having all these flavors come through as well. Okay, I gotta stop eating the cheese or I'm not gonna be able to finish this video. So final thoughts on this cheese. It's a mild cheese, but has some very unique and complex flavors. Not complicated, complex. Because there's just a little bit of different things going on at the same time when you bite into it, when you eat it. And that makes it a very unique cheese in that regard. I found that I like it personally because it's kind of a little bit of a cheese adventure because you get to kind of taste a little bit of everything. But in particular, no major flavor stands out per se. It's very strong, kind of overpowering the others. They all kind of work in harmony together to create this very unique cheese flavor. I would say it's possibly a substitute for Parmesan. I didn't do a grinding test, but it does feel pretty hard, so I think you probably grind it over some pasta again. Yeah, great little cheese, well worth picking up if you get a chance. And yeah, that's the Kaasaggio Robusta Gouda. So if you do like what you see, cheese especially, feel free to like and subscribe, comment below if you have any cheese that you recommend. I'm going to be trying possibly Manchego next. I think it's in the fridge. Looking forward to seeing you at the next video. Have a good one, and thanks for watching.